Hello everyone. So we are here again with a very demanded topic, that is principle of inheritance and variations. So let's start with this wonderful topic. So students, if this topic is very new for you, then we should first understand the basic meaning of what is inheritance and what is the meaning of variation. And later we will be discussing about the principles of this inheritance and variation. So if we go to the actual meaning of what is inheritance, then it is the process of transmission of genetic character from one generation to another. Getting? Let me repeat it once again. What is the meaning of inheritance? So it is the process of transmission of genetic character from one generation to the next generation. Understood? So now with the passage of time, it will be very clear to you what is the meaning of genetic character and how these characters are transmitted from one generation to another generation. Getting? Now moving to the next topic, that is variation. What is variation? This is the basic word which we used in our day-to-day life. Now here in biology, the variation means the degree by which the offspring differ from the parent. Getting? Let me repeat it once again. What is the meaning of variation? Variation is the degree or the extent by which an offspring differ from their parent. That how much an offspring or a child differ from their parent. That is the variation. Getting? Okay. Now moving further in the topic, let me ask you one question. Do you know that in which branch of biology we study inheritance and variation? If you don't know, then no need to worry. The branch of biology in which we deals with the topic of inheritance and variation is genetics. Okay? Getting? Genetics. Yes. So genetics is the branch of biology in which we deals with the study of inheritance and variation. Okay? Now, here two questions arise. First one, who is the propounder or who is the father of genetics? So this we used to learn from our very childhood, that yes, the father of genetics is Gregor Johann Mendel, or we simply write it as G.J. Mendel. Okay. Now the second question, who gave this term genetics? The term genetics was given by whom? So most of you must be thinking that it is the only Mendel who must have given this term, but it is not so. The term genetics was given by another scientist named Bateson. So these are the very basic points or questions which you all have to remember. Understood? So the father of genetics is G.J. Mendel and the term genetics was given by Bateson. Understood? Now let me tell you some more important things about the father of genetics, that is Gregor Johann Mendel. So the G.J. Mendel was born on 22nd July. Okay? 22nd July 1822. Understood? 22nd July 1822. He experimented on Pisum sativum, or simply we call it as garden pea. Pisum sativum or garden pea. On this pea plant, he experimented for around 7 years. 7 years. Okay, starting from year 1856 to 1863. Understood? So this from 1856 to 1863. The 7 years it took Mendel to study on these plants and gave all the important conclusion. What are the conclusion? which was given by the Mendel. We will be discussing it in later part of this video. Understood? So these are the basic points which we have to study. So he was born on 22nd July 1822, experimented on Pisum sativum, or we call it as garden pea, and the experiment took for around 7 years from 1856 to 1863. Understood? If the question arises, then when was the work of Mendel was published, then we are going to answer it in 1865. The work was published in 1865, but the experiment took place between 1856 to 1863. Understood? While experimenting on this, actually let me tell you one more thing, that the work of Mendel was just the extension of some hybridization experiment of two other scientists which are known as Knight and Gauss. So two other scientists were there, Knight and Gauss. So they were doing some hybridization experiment on different plants. So Mendel's work was only their extension of their work, but he was able to deliver some very interesting and very crucial conclusion observations while working on this plant. Understood? Now during this year, Mendel experimented. What he did, he took some pea plant or some Pisum sativum plants, and he made some artificial pollination and some cross pollination. I hope it is clear to you that what is the meaning of artificial pollination and cross pollination. Okay, so what he did, he took some garden pea, and in various of his experiment, what he did, he made some artificial pollination and some cross pollination, and that too on a true breeding pea line. Now what is the meaning of true breeding pea line or true breeding pea varieties? So to understand the work of Mendel, or to understand the inheritance of a single gene or of two genes, or to before going deep into the chapter, we must first learn about some basic terminologies which will help us in understanding this chapter in a more easier way. Understood? So what is the meaning of first terminology which I used right now was true breeding pea variety or true breeding pea line. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of true breeding pea line? So the true breeding pea line are those plants in which self-pollination have taken place continuously for several generations, and as a result of this, they show a very stable trait inheritance. Understood? Let's suppose there is a one plant, and what we did, we allowed this plant to do self-pollination. The next generation arise, that next generation also continued the self-pollination, and this self-pollination method was continued for several generations. So what will happen? The same kind of genetic material will be transmitted from one generation to the other. Hence they are showing a stable trait inheritance pattern. Understood? Now the second terminologies will be character and trait. Now these two terms which we are going to use very oftenly while discussing this chapter, that is character and traits. Now what is the meaning of character and trait? There is a very thin line difference between these two words. The character is the, which we say, a feature of an individual. For example, my height, my skin color, my eye color. Understood? These are the feature of an individual. So character is the feature of an individual. Now what is trait? Trait is the detectable feature of an individual and its variants. For example, let me tell you one example. Let's suppose we are talking about the height of a person. Then height is a character, but the height can be tall or the height can be dwarf. Then this tallness and dwarfness are trait. Understood? Let me take another example. Let's suppose the color of eye of any person. Color of eye. Then when we are talking about the color of an eye, then color of an eye is a character. But the color can be black, blue, brown. Then this black, blue or brown is called trait. Understood? So this is the difference and this is the meaning of character and trait. There are many more terminologies which we have to discuss, that will be done in next video. Till now, revise this topic, and if you have any doubt, please let me know. Thank you so much.